This is Markin Out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Follow on Twitter. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Marking Out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Brennan likes fisting. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. We're marking out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans.
Welcome to Markin Out, Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. This is episode 748. Make sure you check us out, markinout.com, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and wherever else you're going to be listening to podcasts. Make sure you give us a 5-star rating to go with that 5-star frog splash. Buy a t-shirt, prowrestlingtees.com/markinout. Give us a follow and a like over on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram at markinout11. Follow on TikTok and on Twitter at markinout. You can follow myself at DavidPTDPT on all social media platforms. You can follow CM Sweeney85 on Instagram and Chris Sweendog on Twitter to check out Chris. And also follow Brandon on all social media platforms at BTTG161. Brandon, how are you?
I am doing awesome as always. I did not do anything this week. You went to Japan, so let's hear all about your big trip to Japan.
Well, Japan was
also. First of all, how are you?
Exhausted. I am very, very tired. Very, very tired right now. Ready to take a nap. I would love to go back to Japan at some point in my life. I would love to go on another vacation. But right now, I feel like I just need a total reset. Hard reset, big time. But yeah, it was totally an incredible experience, a fun trip. Got to go over there for the World Physiotherapy Congress. In addition to that, me and my friends got to make the most of the time there. We went to a bunch of different shrines. We started off with Kyoto, where one day was good enough for us in Kyoto. We weren't going to go to the Nara.
I just asked you before if one day was enough, and you said no.
I mean, for us it was fine. For others, it may not be fine.
So then you took the worst trip. Then I can't even begin to imagine taking a train, an airplane to Tokyo, and then a 2-hour train ride or just a 1-hour train ride?
2.
I can't even begin to imagine. How was the flight? Is 14 hours?
Something like that.
Was it crazy going through customs when you got there?
No, easy.
So at least there's that, but then another tack 2 hours onto that. That was. I would have been furious with you if you booked that for me.
Well, we wanted to make sure that we were able to get to the Fushimi Inari shrine, Taisha shrine that was over there. It's a Shinto shrine, so we wanted to make sure we got over there bright and early. And then we wanted to make sure that we were able to get to a few different other places over there. So we wanted to go to like Gion, the Gion district and stuff like that. So we had to really get over there early. But it was beautiful. You know, getting to walk through the shrines and stuff like that. There's things like the Nara to see like the deer and stuff like that. I didn't have to go there.
I could skip that. Did you see deer?
No. I didn't see any
something
deer.
You could see here. Like, I don't need to go to Japan
I
see deer.
I didn't have to go to Nara just to see a deer bow to me and bite at me for food. I'm okay on that. Definitely not needed. But let's see. We started off having a lot of matcha tea over there. But it was worth it because the next day we woke up early and then we had some breakfast over there and then we headed off to Osaka, which was really cool because we got to make the most of the time there. We went to Osaka Castle. Then we went to Dotonbori Street, which is where that Glico sign is, the Running Man. Right. We got to go over there.
I know you saw Osaka
it was very
Joe
nice.
Hall, which is cool.
Yep. Got to see that from the top of Osaka Castle, which was really cool to check out, and a nice sight up there. In addition to that, after we only did one day in Osaka, after that we went to Tokyo, which was, it felt like it took a shorter period of time. Sometimes working out the subway system was the most difficult thing to do, was trying to figure out where the exit, what was the proper exits to take.
I would be awful with all of that.
Yeah, that was the most difficult thing, was trying to figure out what the proper exits were. But then going to Tokyo, we got to go to a few different things over there. We got to go to, let's see, we tried to go to, Ichiban, the ramen place, but my friends are vegetarian, so that didn't work out because I guess all the broth is pork-based. So instead, we went to a Mexican food place that was like next door to our hotel. But it worked out because we actually hung out with a few locals that were celebrating their friend's bachelor party, I guess. So that was definitely fun because they after work, they all went there and their bosses just passed out while they're all having a good time. And it was just different to see the culture because they work from, I think, probably like 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. or even later, because usually the most I saw action on the trains was either in the morning, but in the evenings it was like 10, 11, and it was more so people in their business attire, and they were going out for drinks with their colleagues. The conference,
The Ichiran ramen spot. Are there other places like that you went to, or did you not go to any of that kind of experience?
Oh yeah, we went to a ton of different
like the single
ramen
serving sort of place where you sit, where they just all you see is their hands.
No, we didn't do any place like that.
I also would have been probably pissed off with a place like that too. That's not my cup of tea.
Yeah, we didn't go to a place like that. We went to a place where apparently in Shibuya called Mensho. Apparently it's the number 1 or number 2 ramen place in Shibuya. And that was more so, you saw the people cooking and everything, but that was really cool. That was delicious. We went to a tea ceremony in one of the towns, I think Taito, Asakusa. The tea ceremony was really a cool experience, and then we got to walk around.
Or what was that?
Matcha.
I think
they were
I
showing
had
how to do
matcha one time, and I don't think I liked it.
It's different, It's different. We went to Mount Fuji, which was a great experience. We went as high as a car can go in Mount Fuji. And then the lake that's up over there, we actually took a ride on a speedboat over there. Lake Kawaguchiko. We took a speedboat on, which was really fun. I didn't expect to have that much fun on the speedboat out there. The driver was this 78-year-old guy who's just doing it for the love of it. And it was cool because he would stop his boat at times, and he would stop his boat, get onto the front of the boat, take a picture of all of us, and then get back to driving. Mount Fuji was really an incredible sight to see. And we got to see the peak of it too, which was really cool. One of the towns that we went to, I forgot the name of it, but it was a town that was local to all of the Mount Fuji area. It's a World Heritage Site too, but the clouds cleared up and we were able to see the very top of Mount Fuji, which was awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was really special.
Would have been nice to have FaceTimed over there, but
yeah, my phone died out.
And then before you went there though, didn't you? You went to that ice cave?
Yeah, we went to an ice cave. They had different options. You could do an ice cave or a wind cave. But the wind cave was man-made, and the ice cave was natural.
Right.
So we did the ice cave, and it was really cool. You climbed the ladder going all the way down into the depths. Then you had an area that was full of ice, and then you just walked around, and then you walked back up.
Was it super cold, though?
It was cool. It was very cool.
Was it very cold?
It was. It was. It was definitely very cold over there. In that, the difference was very incredible with going into it where it was very cold, and then coming out of it where my glasses were like steaming up. So that was pretty cool. So yeah, then we got to see Tokyo Tower. We didn't go into Tokyo Tower or anything like that, but did get to see it. So got to see that. Got to do some shopping over there. Went to Dukin, the store.
I feel like we should save that for the mark out moment of the week.
Right? The Tadukin store definitely marked out
like
in.
Definitely save that for later.
Yeah, I'll talk about it later too, but that store was incredible. Getting the chance to walk around there was really cool. Went to Ribera Steakhouse, which was awesome, but didn't get a chance to...
outside of Ribera Steakhouse.
Yeah, unfortunately, I tried to open the door, but it was closed. So that's the one downside about Japan is they close everything from like 2 to 5 o'clock, it seems.
But I think they just open at 5.
Oh, so that place just opens at 5?
I'm almost certain they're just a dinner spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we got to do that. I took a picture outside of there. Wish I was able to go inside of it because it was the original site that we went to. Right. But overall, incredible.
How crazy was the Shibuya crossing stuff?
You know, it was cool. It was an intersection. It wasn't anything...
Was it hectic or not really?
Not really. I mean, you know where you're walking. If you don't know where you're walking, then it's a problem. But you're just walking across the street. If you walked around New York City, you'll survive walking over there.
I'm like, I feel like I would have to go there just because it's a famous site, but you're not selling me on it.
It's, watch the videos on YouTube. Watch the videos on YouTube. It was really TikTok, cool. Maybe? It was very cool.
And was the Don Quixote store super special at all, or not really?
The Don Quixote store, they have multiple Don Quixote stores. You can definitely get lost in Don Quixote store. You have to know like what you're getting when you go inside of it. Otherwise, you'll be there for so long. So long.
And it's more than just food?
Yeah, they have everything there. Food, watches, video game stuff, figures.
Is it more like Walmart or is it more like Tri-County?
More congested Walmart. Everything is more close and condensed to each other than your Walmart that you would be thinking of.
At nighttime, I grew accustomed to checking the Pile Driver Twitter account to see when Minoru Suzuki was working.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm quite disappointed that you didn't get over there.
You could only do so much while you're over there. You could only do so much. It's the only time that would be able to get there was the one where we went to Shibuya, but at that time I was so tired. So very tired. It would be difficult for me to even function over there.
I think if I had been there, we would have gone.
I can't say that you've seen me when like I was at WrestleMania aspect at times because I needed food. The streets were beautiful. The streets were absolutely beautiful because of how clean it was.
How did you pay for everything?
You can use your credit card. You either use cash that you convert, or you can use your credit card.
But did you convert any cash or no?
Yeah. Because
Did you take
some
home
places only
souvenirs?
accept cash.
Do you have souvenir cash?
Yeah. I usually keep the coins. So I kept one of each coin, and then I kept a low dollar bill to hold on to. But overall, it was absolutely a great experience. I would go back to it, especially now knowing that I've been to a few places. There was a few places that I didn't get to go to, like Pile Driver, but also like the Imperial Palace I wanted to get to, and Tokyo Dome. But it was so hard to fit everything in there, and especially on the day where we were going to be able to travel, it was like a rain out. So, but we did luck out a lot with the reduced level of rain throughout everything. So
It's crazy because I feel like if I was going to Japan, I would need at least like 2 weeks.
that's why you go back again. That's why you go back again. You know? So I am back from Japan, but so much happened while I was away at Japan. There was some contracts that were not renewed. R-Truth, Carlito, and Sarah Logan didn't have their contracts renewed, which was very surprising, especially R-Truth just coming out of his matchup with John Cena.
Yeah, seeing R-Truth post that and then seeing Carlito post it, I first of all, R-Truth's was like, because he posted it on June 1st, I thought it was like, because he's R-Truth, I thought it was an April Fool's joke. But that was very, very unexpected to see that.
Yeah, I thought it was a April Fool's joke because it was like June 1st, so I was thinking maybe he got confused. You know?
It's unfortunate. I hope they get the nostalgia contracts. We literally just got Carlito back in the WWE game system last year. They made a whole special weapon for him and everything. R-Truth was the best part of the story mode in 2K25 this year. So I really hope we don't end up losing them from the games.
I hope not.
We're having some audio technical difficulties here, so I'm going to run right through Monday Night Raw, which kicked off with CM Punk, and he basically said that it's the summer of Punk. He wants the gold. He spoke about Jey Uso. He spoke about John Cena, the Money in the Bank. Sami Zayn came out and said that he wants the same exact thing as CM Punk, but because of Seth Rollins, Money in the Bank is not in his cards. But he needs CM Punk to win that match, and he teased a match for the championship if CM Punk were to win. The first match of Monday Night Raw, which we'll put a pin in there, you saw Stephanie Vaquer pick up the victory over Liv Morgan and Ivy Nile to qualify for the Money in the Bank. Roxanne Perez offered to help Liv Morgan beforehand, even though it seemed like everyone was well aware of who Stephanie Vaquer was. They put together an absolutely incredible video package for anyone who may not know who she was. This match I thought was very entertaining. I liked Liv Morgan doing the double code breaker to both of them. Stephanie Vaquer eventually hit the SVB on Ivy Nile to pick up that win. And now she's pulling double duty for Worlds Collide and Money in the Bank. And I'm thankful that we didn't see Roxanne Perez show up during that match to cause any interference. In WWE these days, that's like a breath of fresh air. You had the Judgment Day pick up the victory over the War Raiders. New Day did commentary. Ivar at one point teased throwing JD McDonough into Xavier Woods, and Xavier Woods fell over. Commentary laughed at that, which popped me so big time for that. That really popped me. And then New Day got up, and the referee kicked them from ringside. If this happened last week, I think we would have had Carlito get involved. So that's unfortunate. But this match kept going for a while until Roxanne Perez showed up. And she helped Finn Balor pick up that win. She distracted Ivar. She distracted the referee. And JD McDonough knocked Ivar off the top rope. We saw a coup de grace and a big win for the Judgment Day over there. After that, Liv Morgan spoke to Finn Balor about Roxanne Perez and what Finn Balor's trying to do. And he basically said that it's all in her head. And she can go win Money in the Bank. She can go bring gold back to the Judgment Day. We saw later on Kairi Sane pick up the victory over Raquel Rodriguez. I liked Raquel catching Kairi off the apron and swinging her into the apron. Liv Morgan ends up kicking Kairi behind the referee's back. Multiple times she got involved. And Io eventually ran down to fight with Liv Morgan. Raquel grabbed Io, and Kairi ends up kicking Raquel into the ring post. Super loud noise. And then she hit the insane elbow to pick up that win. You had Lyra Valkyria come out and cut a promo responding to an earlier segment with Becky Lynch. And she called her out so she can say what she needs to her face rather than having a pre-taped segment to the world and not to her face. And Lyra said that Becky unlocked anger in her, and she needed that unlocked. So in some ways, I guess she's thankful to Becky Lynch for that. Becky Lynch said that Lyra probably wants to replace her, and nobody can replace the man. And she didn't want to hurt Lyra Valkyria. She wanted to make her better. And Lyra right then and there was ready to throw down. Becky Lynch left, and Lyra chased up to brawl with her on the ramp. And that, of course, was broken up. Yet Jey Uso and Sami Zayn pick up the victory over Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker via disqualification. Right off the bat, that theme song mashup for Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed was garbage. That was awful. I liked the sell in the actual match of the super kick from Braun Breaker when he went to spear Jey Uso. Jey tried to choke him out, but Braun Breaker, he hit a senton to break up the chokehold, and then Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, Bronson Reed hit the senton to break it up. And then at one point, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed caught Sami Zayn on a dive. Jey dove onto them, and then Seth Rollins showed up and stomped Jey to cause that disqualification. And then CM Punk made that save. And later on, Karrion Kross spoke to Sami Zayn. And he said that he thinks Sami Zayn's a liar. And he's been lying to himself. And he told Sami, just be the bad guy. And Sami said that he's wrong. I don't think he's wrong. You had Gunther speak to Jey Uso, kind of saying that he appreciates what Jey's done for the World Heavyweight Championship, what he's put into being champion, but he's taking that title after that match at Money in the Bank. He brought up how Jey focuses on everyone else. He pointed out to helping Sami Zayn. He pointed out saying that Jey was going to help Punk if he needed it. And he points out Saturday night's main event with Cody Rhodes. And now he gets himself into a match that doesn't focus on the World Heavyweight Championship. You had El Grande Americano pick up the victory over AJ Styles and CM Punk to qualify for the Money in the Bank. Paul Heyman tried to get AJ Styles out of the match to tell him to focus on the Intercontinental Championship instead. And as far as this match goes, I like that CM Punk and AJ Styles, before this began, they had the referee check the mask of El Grande Americano. That I thought was very, especially for CM Punk and AJ Styles being those ring veterans, I thought that was a good aspect to add to that match. Outside of the Royal Rumble, this was the first time that CM Punk and AJ Styles shared a ring for the first time since 2004. And it was awesome getting to see them wrestle again. CM Punk got out of the ankle lock at one point with El Grande Americano basically rolling right into a Styles Clash, and I thought that was really cool. Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed showed up to attack CM Punk, and just like Gunther said, Jey Uso ran down and with Sami Zayn to help AJ Styles there. And to help CM Punk probably, not AJ Styles. And then AJ Styles jumped out onto everyone. El Grande Americano, with all that commotion, Referee distracted, loaded up his mask, even though I guess that really doesn't make sense. If it's a triple threat match, he could have used the loaded mask regardless. And then he ends up, AJ Styles went for the phenomenal forearm, got hit with that loaded mask. And then the fight continued afterwards. CM Punk, Sami Zayn, and Jey Uso all ate stomps from Seth Rollins. Bronson Reed hit 2 tsunamis on Jey Uso to close Monday Night Raw. So we shall see what happens with that. You had Javon Evans and Laredo Kid and Ethan Page open up NXT. Javon and Laredo Kid were about to speak. That was when Ethan Page interrupted them. And he said that this should be his championship celebration. He shouldn't be sharing this time with Laredo Kid. He shouldn't be sharing it with Javon Evans. He brought up how Ava already has him signed to face Shawn Legacy for a title match. And then Shawn Legacy showed up, and he said that he hopes the champion next week isn't Ethan Page. And then the Vanity Project from Evolve showed up. They talked trash to everybody, to Shawn Legacy. Ethan Page jumped Shawn Legacy. The Vanity Project jumped in. They all got taken out, and that sets up a match. And then later on, we saw Javon Evans, Laredo Kid, and Shawn Legacy pick up and Dragon Lee pick up the victory over Ethan Page and the Vanity Project. I don't know what Dragon Lee was doing at NXT, how he was there to volunteer as a partner, but I think it's always great to see Dragon Lee on TV. Mr. Iguana, Aerostar, and Octagon Jr. sat ringside for this. And I thought this was a very fun match. It was very fast-paced at times, a bit chaotic. Dragon Lee got the double stomp on Brad Baylor and then hit Operation Dragon to pick up that win. You had Dark State pick up the victory over Chase U, which I feel like this should have been over sooner than it was. I did like Cale Dixon and Uriah Connors looking like an actual tag team, looking like they were maybe ones that could have given Dark State a loss. But Dark State took over, they won. You knew they weren't winning. You had Miles Bourne pick up the victory over Charlie Dempsey in a rounds match. I still don't know why Miles Bourne wanted out of No Quarter Catch Crew, but Miles Bourne got the first fall at the very last second of round 1, and Charlie Dempsey took a cheap shot after round 2. So he went into that round with the upper hand. He tied it up in round 3 with that Regal Plex, and then Charlie Dempsey hit the drop kick. Not Charlie Dempsey. Miles Bourne hit that drop kick in round 4 to pick up the win, essentially freeing himself from No Quarter Catch Crew. Where that goes, I have no idea. I really, like I keep saying, I don't want to see No Quarter Catch Crew done. I'm a fan of the group, so it sucks when they break up groups. I don't know where people go from here. The last time they broke up a group, they released people, so I don't want to see that. You had Tyra May Steele make her NXT debut, match-wise, picking up the victory over Ariana Grace, which stemmed from an earlier segment. I think this was a decent showcase match for TMS. I was under the impression she was going to be a heel, but I guess they didn't want her and Jasper Troy both as heels. So she was a big baby face in this. You had Fatal Influence having a championship celebration for JC Jane. And she told the fans that were cheering for her to shut up. Called them fickle, big time. And then JC said that they're on top where they belong. She said that she was the only one who wasn't shocked when she won the championship. WWE put out a video of everybody being shocked. It was a very shocking thing. She said she put it in the work. She got better. And then Lainey Reed interrupted and said she was going to wait her time, but realized that JC's the most beatable champion. Lola Vice came out and said that she wants a title shot. Jordan Grace came out. Jada Parker interrupted. Kalani Jordan showed up. Lash Legend came out. And then everybody brawled. When Thea Hale showed up, she attacked Jada Parker. And then the lights went out. And Mariah May debuted. Out of that whole segment, I don't know how Lainey Reed's debut was like that, but Mariah May showing up in that segment I thought was so unexpected, and I honestly didn't think anything was going to happen to get like a big pop at the end of that. So I was happy to get that big pop. That's all I wanted. When everyone started brawling, I was like, that can't be the end of the segment. Lainey Reed, though, was over with the crowd. The fans know her from NXT Level Up. And I guess if they go to all the live events that NXT puts on, it's just a very interesting debut to have her just randomly show up. People, I guess for TV purposes, you're not really supposed to know who she is. You can't. You have to be one of those people inside the NXT bubble, I guess. You had Zarya ask Tatum Paxley why she didn't go out there in that big championship segment. And she's like, she's just super down. And Izzy Dame interrupted and said, I forget exactly what she said, but it seems like she's pitching Tatum Paxley to join the culling. Earlier, Izzy Dame ends up taking Brooks Jensen out with a chair. Whether that means he's out of the culling or not, I don't know. I don't understand why that took place. We'll see. You had Tony D'Angelo in a segment where Luca Crucifino tried to speak to Tony, and Tony said he still doesn't trust him. And Luca said that he got him a match for next week against the High Rise. Tony questioned Luca wanting to do it for the family, and he said he didn't get consent from Tony to get this match made. And then Luca said that they're not really a family anymore. So what are we even doing here as a tag team? What are they doing? You had Trick Williams pick up the victory over Santana to retain the TNA Championship. Elijah sat ringside. I thought this was a good main event, and I ultimately, deep down, I figured that Trick Williams was going to win this match, but I couldn't think of how they were getting to that. I couldn't think of the outcome. And like I said last week, it's great to see Santana on TV like this. Earlier on, or not earlier on, but Trick at one point bailed out of the ring. And he smashed Elijah's guitar. And then when Trick was out of the ring with the referee distracted, Casey Navarro pulls Santana's leg. And then AJ Francis slams Santana on the commentary table. And Trick Williams hit that trick shot, ended the match. And it's crazy to see where Casey Navarro is now, because Dave and I first met him, he must have been like 13 or 14 years old at PWS. And never, I don't want to offend anybody, but he never came off as like a mark. He knew what he was talking about when he was talking about pro wrestling. And I always thought that was one of the coolest things, because like, how could he possibly know about so-and-so, Bruno Sammartino, etc.? He like studied the history of pro wrestling, it seemed, and it was always cool to talk with him. Eventually he joined the school, literally made a name for himself. So I'm happy to see Casey Navarro in the spotlight like that on NXT for TNA. So that's NXT. Moving over to SmackDown. It kicked off with the not dangerous alliance, but Seth Rollins said that when he wins Money in the Bank, he'll have control over the whole industry. And he spoke about everybody who stood in their way and how they took them all out. The Bloodline came out, and Solo Sikoa questioned Seth Rollins about what he had said about nobody being able to stop him. He also compared the new group to the Bloodline, and he said that he's going to be the one winning Money in the Bank. And then Seth Rollins tried to plant seeds of doubt between Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. He also said that he's only threatened by one Fatu in the ring, and that Fatu is not Solo. I thought that was a good line. Jacob then stepped up to Braun Breaker. Seth Rollins stepped up to Jacob Fatu before all of them left. I thought this was a hot segment. And then Jimmy Uso showed up after that, attacked Jeff Cobb. It led into their match where Jimmy Uso picked up the victory over Jeff Cobb. Solo, again, throughout this match, kept trying to get Jimmy to come back to the Bloodline. And honestly, Jimmy's just kind of been floating there, not doing much, so I kind of wouldn't mind him rejoining them. I don't know. But I thought the match was decent. Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu end up on the apron, and that stopped Jimmy Uso from going for the Uso splash. He dodged Jeff Cobb, who then accidentally knocked Jacob Fatu off the apron. Jimmy was able to roll Jeff Cobb up for that quick victory, and then Jacob Fatu angrily left. He was pissed off that that happened, and then Damian Priest spoke to him later on about family. He also said that he's coming for that U.S. Championship. And then even later on, Jacob Fatu overheard Solo Sikoa talking to Jeff Cobb, basically calling Jacob Fatu stupid. I don't know how that's going to work in Solo's favor for Money in the Bank, but that was something. You had Zelina Vega pick up the victory over Piper Niven in a Bakersfield brawl match. Before the match, Zelina Vega warned Julia about the championship. And then when they went to introduce this actual match, I thought it was going to be Mia Yim and B-Fab in a tag team match. And then they announced that it was just Piper versus Zelina Vega, so I assumed we were going to be seeing the two of them at some point. Which we didn't. We'll put a pin in that, or I'll put a pin in that. Zelina Vega was the first person to bring weapons into this match. Not that it had much of an effect on Piper Niven, but she later took Piper, Chelsea, and Alba Fire out with a dive to the outside. She hit a code red from the top rope, and Alba Fire ends up attacking Zelina Vega. Right then and there, you have what's a 3-on-1. I thought for sure we were going to see Mia Yim and B-Fab. Were they not part of this feud? But it was Julia to come out, make the save, and it allowed for Zelina Vega to powerbomb Piper Niven right through that Slim Jim table and get the victory. And then after the match, Zelina Vega had her hand raised by Julia, and then Julia took Zelina Vega out. So she is coming for that U.S. Championship. After that, LA Knight picked up the victory over Aleister Black via disqualification. Aleister Black had a video beforehand. LA Knight spoke before the match. Incredibly over. LA Knight was wearing Money in the Bank themed gear, so that had me worried that we could possibly see him taken out. I really liked the part in the match where LA Knight went for a DDT and Aleister Black reversed it by holding onto his leg, and I don't know if I've ever seen that before. I also liked when Aleister Black went for that springboard moonsault. LA Knight did like a backwards, not backwards, to the back Cactus Jack clothesline, I guess, to take both of them out of the ring. I like that spot. Aleister Black reversed a BFT. He then also reversed the Burning Hammer, but LA Knight was able to hit that. Aleister Black rolled out of the ring. And then Seth Rollins, when LA Knight was down, showed up and stomped LA Knight. And then Seth went to stomp him again. Aleister Black got in the way and he touched his eye. I don't know if that, I have to assume maybe that was like a nod to their history. And then Braun Breaker speared the hell out of Aleister Black, and Bronson Reed hit a senton on LA Knight. And then Braun Breaker speared LA Knight. After that, Tiffany Stratton came out and spoke. She addressed the Money in the Bank and said it doesn't matter who wins because whoever wins will be living, or no, whoever wins, their world will revolve around Tiffany Stratton. Rhea Ripley came out and said that she's never been in a Money in the Bank because she's never had to be in a Money in the Bank. Stephanie Vaquer came out. Alexa Bliss came out. It led to their match where Rhea Ripley, Alexa Bliss, and Stephanie Vaquer picked up the victory over Roxanne Perez, Naomi, and Julia. This was more chaotic at times than I would have liked. The crowd, though, when Rhea Ripley got that hot tag in, went absolutely nuts. It eventually, again, broke down into the move gimmick. Rhea Ripley had the Riptide reversed by Roxanne Perez. And then eventually when Roxanne went to tag out, Naomi dropped off the apron and left her all by herself. She got hit by the Sister Abigail DDT. She got hit by the I'm forgetting what it's called right now. Eat Defeat. And then she got hit with the Riptide. They were doing a Sign of the Night segment after that. and it got cut off by a Bo Dallas vignette. He spoke about the tag team division, and he said that the tag team division will be tested, and the Wyatt Six won't be forgotten. They're not there for nostalgia. They're there for what they're owed. And then all the tag teams backstage were watching this. Montez Ford tried to pump up the teams. It led to Fraxium saying they should challenge the Wyatts. Then Motor City Machine Guns and DIY argued about who should be facing the Wyatts, and DIY agreed that it should be Motor City Machine Guns. It kind of seems like reverse psychology, sort of like a Bugs Bunny Daffy Duck situation there, outsmarting the veterans. After that, you had Penta and Andrade pick up the victory over the Creeds. This stemmed from a backstage segment. You had Vikingo ringside, so you knew something was happening with Chad Gable. Andrade and Penta attacked the Creeds before the match. Chad Gable did get involved. He tried to rip Penta's mask off. And then Vikingo attacked Chad Gable. They brawled to the back. From there, Andrade was able to hit that reverse elbow, and Penta hit the Mexican Destroyer to pick up the victory. And then Seth Rollins and his group came out, surrounded the ring, and they took out Penta. They took out Andrade. Paul Heyman spoke after that. Super fired up. Tried to, I guess, drill it into everyone's head that Seth Rollins is the future and everything that Seth Rollins says is the truth. And then he just reiterated that Seth Rollins at Money in the Bank will become Mr. Money in the Bank again. And whenever he feels like it, he's going to cash in. He's going to win. He's going to control the industry. Cody Rhodes interrupted. Jey Uso came out. Seth and them left. Cody spoke about what John Cena said the other week, which I popped at him mentioning Michael Hayes and the Hardy Boys. But John Cena came out, and while he was being introduced, Logan Paul attacked them from behind. John Cena hit the attitude adjustment on Jey Uso. Logan Paul hit the pulverizer on Cody Rhodes. He hit the frog splash. He hit the frog splash on Jey Uso. And then Cena said that nobody's coming out. No one's coming to save them. And he said Logan Paul's going to take that World Heavyweight Championship to the top when he leaves WWE with the WWE Championship. I think Logan Paul looked like a megastar standing with that championship next to John Cena. I don't think I would mind seeing him as the World Heavyweight Champion. And John Cena hit another attitude adjustment on Cody Rhodes. Logan Paul knocked out Jey Uso. Fans started chanting very loudly for R-Truth. And John Cena clapped back saying, "You can't handle the truth," and called everybody liars and losers for that. Very, very interesting way to end SmackDown. But that is SmackDown. Going to do predictions for Worlds Collide taking place at the Kia Forum. For the first time in a long time for WWE doing a cross-promotional event like this. We have the LWO, Dragon Lee and Cruz del Toro, teaming up with Lince Dorado, who is unfortunately having to replace Joaquin Wilde. He got injured during a speed taping. They're taking on Octagon Jr., Aerostar, and Mr. Iguana. I'm saying the LWO and Lince Dorado picked this one up.
I'm going to agree with you. I think Lince Dorado and the LWO picks up the victory in this one.
You have Stephanie Vaquer and Lola Vice teaming up to take on Chick Tormenta and Dallas. I think that also has to be a Stephanie Vaquer, Lola Vice sort of situation where they're picking up that win.
I agree with you. I think Stephanie Vaquer and Lola Vice are going to pick up the victory for that one. Six-man tag team match, Legado del Fantasma versus El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr., Pagano, and Psycho Clown. I'm going with that tag team.
Yeah, I'm saying El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr., Pagano, and Psycho Clown get that victory over Legado del Fantasma. I think I'm super pumped about this whole card, but just the fact that we're about to see Psycho Clown on WWE TV, I'm like beyond pumped. It's a great looking card. You have for the NXT North American Championship, Ethan Page defending the title against Javon Evans, Laredo Kid, and Ray Fenix. This one I think is very tough to call.
This one is tough.
I don't know if
I kind of want to go with Javon
retains,
Evans.
and then if Ethan Page retains, then he's facing Sean Legacy for the championship.
Yeah, I kind of want to go with Javon Evans.
I would really like to see Laredo Kid take that title, but I think I'm going to say Ethan Page retains.
Okay. AAA Mega Championship on the line. El Hijo del Vikingo defending against Chad Gable. I'm going El Hijo del Vikingo.
Yeah, I'm going to say Vikingo retains. You're going to have to work on your pronunciations here.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But I think if El Grande Americano wasn't in the Money in the Bank, I might have picked Chad Gable to win this. But I don't know. Vikingo literally just won the championship last week, so...
Oh, so yeah, he's got to continue it.
But the reason why it was because the champion before him was Del Rio, so... I don't know. It's very possible if they want to run with Chad Gable as a mega heel for them in AAA.
I mean, it could work.
But I'm going to stick with Vikingo. We have predictions for Money in the Bank taking place at the Intuit Dome. That giant freaking work of art in Inglewood, California. We have 4 matches for this show. We have the Women's Intercontinental Championship on the line. Lyra Valkyria defending that title against Becky Lynch, where if Becky Lynch loses, she can no longer challenge for the Intercontinental Championship as long as Lyra Valkyria is champion. And if Becky Lynch wins, then she has to have her hand raised by Lyra Valkyria.
I'm going with I'm going with Lyra Valkyria.
My fingers
Actually, no, I'm
beyond,
going Becky Lynch.
They're beyond crossed for Lyra Valkyria, but I can't see that happening, so I have to pick Becky Lynch, but I really, really hope I'm wrong in picking Becky Lynch.
Yeah, I'm going Becky Lynch, too. Tag team match, Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso versus John Cena and Logan Paul. I'm going to go with Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso.
Yeah, I'm going to take that team as well.
Money in the Bank ladder match for the Women's Championship on the line. Contract, Alexa Bliss, Roxanne Perez, Rhea Ripley, Julia, Naomi, Stephanie Vaquer. I'm going Rhea Ripley.
I'm saying Naomi.
All right. I mean, I hope it's somebody different from Rhea Ripley. Especially with so many fresh faces in there. And I feel like Naomi and Alexa Bliss can be considered fresh faces because they haven't been in there for a while. Money in the Bank ladder match
has
for
the most that she could do with the briefcase.
Yeah, true. Ladder match for the men. Solo Sikoa, LA Knight, Penta, Seth Rollins, Andrade, El Grande Americano. I'm going to go with Seth Rollins.
See, what sucks about this is that I want LA Knight to win the Money in the Bank briefcase, but I then have both of my picks on SmackDown.
Ooh, you can still have that.
I don't know if they would do that.
Could be a selling point.
I'm going to say LA Knight, but I really, if out of everybody in this match, I really hope it's not Seth Rollins.
I think it will be.
Because I feel like Seth doesn't need something like that, so it is what it is. If he does win, it's fine, but I feel like he has this group now that he doesn't necessarily need a Money in the Bank contract for it.
Yeah, but it secures his ability to have that at any time.
Yeah. Well, those are our predictions for Worlds Collide and Money in the Bank. Going to take a quick little break right now, and I'll be right back here on Markin Out.
This is Priscilla Kelly, and you're listening to Markin Out.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Markin Out episode 748. Moving back to AEW Collision from last week, it kicked off with Claudio picking up the victory over Commander to advance to the match with Kenny Omega at Fyter Fest. Some of this match was clunky, but overall I was entertained. I thought it was very entertaining. Claudio catching Commander to do a trio of backbreakers I thought was dope. And when Commander dropped off the top rope to escape Claudio and then hit him with the springboard sunset flip, I thought that was really cool as well. You had the Don Callis family pick up the victory over Ishii and Paragon. I don't know how you keep having Paragon lose. You just had them lose to the Don Callis family. At what point do you become uninvested in Paragon? And I think Takeshita should be in a much different spot than he is right now. You had Okada pick up the victory over Anthony Bowens. I think it's cool that Anthony Bowens wrestled Okada in a singles match. But Bowens returned after being out for 3 months. And he won 3 matches against people who don't win. And then the matches that he lost are people Ricochet. He lost to Ricochet. Ricochet's not losing right now. Not losing always. Okada, he's not losing always. These are bigger names. Anthony Bowens needs to beat bigger names. I don't know how this builds him up as the 5-tool player. He did reverse the Rainmaker twice. Ultimately lost to a Rainmaker. But I want more for Anthony Bowens here. You had Mina Shirakawa pick up the victory over Sky Blue. I was actually surprised with how long this match was. It was maybe like 10 minutes long. I think they could have done a bit more in the actual match, but I like what they did. I just wanted more. Julia Hart showed up afterwards. She attacked Mina Shirakawa. Toni Storm made the save. It gets set up for a tag match, gets set up for Fyter Fest. And on Dynamite, Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa beat Julia Hart and Sky Blue. Mercedes Moné was on commentary, and then she left to eat a steak, but it was beyond well done. So it looked good until she cut into it. I enjoyed most of this match, and in a perfect world, it would have been Sky Blue and Julia Hart winning, but you had to know that that wasn't the outcome that was happening, where Toni Storm was in the match, where Mina Shirakawa was in the match. I like the other match on Collision. I wish there was more to this. You had the Gates of Agony pick up the victory over GMO Kaminari and Cosmo Orion. If you want me to care about the Gates of Agony, then you're going to have them beating people in AEW. The last time they did that was August. It's now June. This year they lost to Big Bill and Brian Keith. They lost to the Hurt Business. They lost to the Hounds of Hell. But sure, they look super strong against Cosmo Orion. Make that make sense. How does that build them up? It's just a win is a win is a win is a win. This is an AEW Dark. We don't need matches like this. You had LFI pick up the victory over AR Fox and Top Flight. It's been weeks since we've seen the full LFI group together, so I think that was great to see. The referee almost immediately had no control. Quite frankly, though, against LFI, I can look past that, given how rough they are. This was another match that I was surprised to see go so long, though. I really hope that this is the start to LFI being used weekly and in this capacity. But you had, after the match, Commander and Mike Bailey made the save for Darius. I had doubts as to how we're going to be seeing LFI, and I'll put a pin in that. In the main event, you saw Mascara Dorada pick up the victory over Hechicero to advance in that Kenny Omega match. I don't know how this ended up being the main event. I guess maybe because of what the win leads to, but I don't know. I think the opening match was so much better than this. But if you switch the matches, Commander couldn't have made the save. I don't know. The fans didn't really seem so fully invested throughout this match. At AEW Dynamite, you had Fyter Fest, a 4-hour block. Are you kidding me? And they're doing that next week as well. It opened up with Will Ospreay, and they asked him about Swerve, and both of them fighting. He said they're on the same side. And Jon Moxley needs to leave if he doesn't like how AEW is. He's the only reason why AEW sucks. I don't understand how you could have your biggest name go out there and say your company sucks at all. Even if you're saying it's because of Jon Moxley, why would you have anybody say it sucks? That was goofy. And then he called Swerve out for a fight. Random music played. Literally nobody knew who it was. Commentary was confused. And it was Crew. Lio Rush said the worst thing about AEW is Will Ospreay. And then Will Ospreay challenged him to a match. Later on, we saw Will Ospreay pick up the victory over Lio Rush. And Lio Rush does not have many victories in AEW, so I think this was very, very goofy. Going as long as it did. I mean, you're Will Ospreay. Lio Rush tried to cheat, the referee saw, and he ate a Styles Clash to end the match, but to have this match go as long as it did, Will Ospreay versus Lio Rush, and Lio Rush is getting so much in, he doesn't win. He does not win. That makes no sense. Action Andretti attacked Will Ospreay after the match. Hangman eventually made the save. And then Crew split. And then Hangman cut a promo afterwards. He got surrounded by the Death Riders. Jon Moxley was in the ring. Will Ospreay came back out with a chair. And then they left. Earlier, you had Jon Moxley pick up the victory over Mark Briscoe. Wheeler Yuta got involved. Somehow, Mark Briscoe got busted open. I don't recall what spot that was. I don't know if it was a Wheeler Yuta thing or something. I don't know. But I said last week that I don't think AEW's been utilizing Mark Briscoe right, and I don't think this is it. Because I don't care about Jon Moxley. I didn't care about this match. I couldn't get invested into this match. You had the Hurt Business come out. MVP asked where the best tag teams in AEW are. And then MJF trash-talked Mystico. And then Speedball Mike Bailey, Kevin Knight, and Commander came out to yell at them. It seemed like they wanted a match with the Hurt Business right then and there, and MVP yelled about it, and they said no, but it wouldn't have made sense. None of that made sense because the three of them were already booked for a match. I don't know how that made sense, but Commander, Speedball, Kevin Knight picked up the victory over LFI. There's your pin. This was all over the place. Zero control at the start. They eventually got into a normal match, and I thought what they did in that part was fun. The chops from Roosh and Kevin Knight I thought were great, and then it turned into chaos again. I think it was an obvious win, unfortunately. And then the Hurt Business came back out, and MVP said that they have a match next week. And then they went to the ring. This was so embarrassing. They got taken out. The freaking Hurt Business, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, and MJF all got taken out by the three of them. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? After that, you had Powerhouse Hobbs answer an open challenge for Max Caster. He beat Max Caster. Kenny Omega picked up the victory over Brody King, Claudio, and Mascara Dorada to retain the championship. The three of them started the match by attacking Claudio. Then Kenny and Dorada took out Brody. And then it fell apart, went all over the place. I couldn't follow it. It was very, very chaotic. The main part of this was that Okada came out afterwards and they started fighting. Which, unfortunately, I'll put a pin in. You had FTR pick up the victory over Templario and Atlantis Jr. At one point, Templario did a spin-a-rooney to dodge a move from Dax, and I thought that was a fun spot. I think, as far as the match goes, it would have been more exciting if we didn't see the same exact stuff over and over again. We saw so many other matches that they did the same exact things. Not to mention, AEW really has given the TV audience no reason as to why the wrestlers from CMLL are there. It's not like a Worlds Collide sort of thing where it's a CMLL versus AEW sort of thing. There's no stories. Like MJF's promo on Mystico. The event's in 2 weeks. It's just a rush thing. You had the Don Callis family and Hechicero pick up the victory over the Outrunners and Bandito. This almost makes no sense because they had already announced a match for the AEW and Ring of Honor versus CMLL show, because that is going to be an actual show. Hechicero, Ultimo Guerrero, and Averno versus the Don Callis family. And here he is teaming up with the Don Callis family. Make that make sense. I don't understand. But this was another match with no control. And like I said with the FTR match, this was the same thing from other matches. And you're fighting the Outrunners as if they're the Hurt Business. You're fighting the Outrunners. And it's taking forever to get it done. That makes no sense. You had Megan Bayne drag Anna Jay out from backstage. Anna Jay didn't fight at all. It made no sense. That made no sense at all. But she dragged her out onto the stage so she could F5 her off the ramp. Ty Mello made their save. And it was immediately broken up. Why was Anna Jay just walking? Why didn't she fight back? Why didn't she try to fight back? I'm glad to see Ty Mello. That was a terrible return, though. You had Nick Wayne pick up the victory over Sammy Guevara, Lee Johnson, and AR Fox to retain the Ring of Honor TV Championship. Ricochet did commentary. I don't know why Ricochet did commentary now that I'm thinking about it. I don't know. Is he going to be trying to go for the Ring of Honor title? I don't know. But the opponents have a combined 3 wins in 2025. Why would anyone care about this match? Blake Christian got involved. I'm sure you could still keep, I think, 3 wins between all 4 of them. You had Tekla pick up the victory over Lady Frost. So I'm happy that Lady Frost was the opponent because she's at least signed to AEW. I had big doubts for that. I thought it was just going to be a random enhancement talent. But this was basically a squash match. Typically when we see Lady Frost in a match where she's obviously going to be losing, she's in that match looking better than the opponent. But in this scenario, we didn't really get to have that. Rightfully so. It's not about those other matches. I don't think are about Lady Frost either, but this was specifically a showcase match for Tekla. And Tekla continued the attack afterwards. Queen Aminata appeared, and she cut a promo afterwards. She'll be losing to Tekla next week. And then they had the absolute nerve to say Tony Khan had a major announcement. It was commentary to actually make the announcement. People thought it was going to be the Women's Tag Team Championships. They thought Tony was going to come out there. Here's 2 brand new titles. The problem with Women's Tag Team Championships to me is that we see how they book women. I don't have faith in a women's tag team division if they're not even putting 3 women's matches on a 4-hour block. So commentary makes the announcement that it's Kenny Omega versus Okada at All In Texas, winner take all. Who cares? A lot of people I know care. I don't care. I don't need to see that match. I don't need to see either of them walk out with both of those titles. Main event saw Daniel Garcia and Paragon finally getting a victory, picking up the victory over Don Callis family. Another chaotic, no control from the referee kind of match. They went overtime even though they had 4 freaking hours to fit everything in. Went past midnight. That's absolutely ridiculous. I thought this episode was awful. It was mostly like a rushed setup for Grand Slam Mexico. With almost no explanation for anything. Just random things said to make people, here's a heel saying something to a babyface. It's completely rushed, and then next week we have to sit through another 4-hour episode. Where so far there's only 2 women's matches announced. There was a lot of people who were pissed off that there was only 2 women's matches in this 4-hour block. Why was there a Ring of Honor TV title match in this 4-hour block? Why? Why did that make any sense? That didn't need to happen. So that's AEW Fighter Fest. Hey, Brandon. Got any shout-outs?
Heyo, Kermit the Frog here, and you're listening to Brandon Shoutouts, yay!
Y2K gets the first shout-out. It came out in December, but it's been streaming on Max now for a couple of weeks now, and I watched it. I enjoyed the movie. Did you see the trailer for this? I feel like you did.
Nah, I don't think I did.
I thought you did. It's an apocalyptic sci-fi comedy about a group of teens who attempt to survive Y2K. And it basically, technology comes to life and tries to turn on humanity. And I get people not liking the movie, but I like this kind of comedy. Kyle Mooney wrote it, and it's like, if you picture Kyle Mooney's comedy, it's right up that alley.
Mm-hmm.
It stars Jaden Martell, Rachel Zegler, Julian Dennison. The kid Leroy is in the movie. Fred Durst makes an appearance in the film as Fred Durst. There are some inaccuracies that I noticed. There might be more, but like at the very beginning, the kid's making a custom Kelso figure, but he's using a Ruthless Aggression Paul London. So that wouldn't have been around until 2005. They also have the Thong Song and Break Stuff as part of the movie, but those didn't come out until after 2000. Or after 2000 began, I should say. Mm-hmm. So those are kind of inaccurate. My next shout out goes to Motorheads, which came out the other week on Amazon Prime. It's about a group of teenagers dealing with their own struggles. Cars are heavily involved in the show, like drag racing and stuff. It's somewhat similar to Riverdale, but also at the same time not at all anything like Riverdale, if that makes sense. And maybe like portions of Grease mixed into it, but it's like present day, so it's not like Grease. It stars Ryan Phillippe, Natalie Kelly, Michael Cimino, Melissa Colazzo, Uriah Shelton, Nicholas Cantu. I'm not sure if it was renewed for season 2 yet or not. It ended on a cliffhanger, so I really hope it does have a season 2. I think the creator said that the second season's already written, so hopefully Amazon does pick that up for a second season. Mm-hmm. And then my last shout out goes to Pee-wee as himself, which is a new 2-part documentary on HBO and Max that covers Paul Rubens' rise to fame, Pee-wee Herman, all the controversies, and his personal life. I could have watched so much more of this documentary. And if you're a fan of Pee-wee Herman, I think it's a must-watch documentary. So those are my shout-outs. Now it's time for
our
Mark Out Moment of the Week.
That is right, our Mark Out Moment of the Week. I think, first of all, right off the bat, I want to get all the other stuff out of the way, like Happy Gilmore. The trailer for Happy Gilmore 2 came out. And aside from MJF, by the way, playing a Gilmore son, aside from him being in it, Becky Lynch is in it, Bad Bunny's in it. We already knew the 3 of them were in it, but we also now know that Nikki Bella is in the film. So I think that's pretty cool.
I have to see the trailer, but that sounds awesome.
Mariah May's debut, I think, was pretty cool. But all the wrestling stuff that I saw you do in Japan, I was very jealous of.
Yeah, I definitely marked out a ton while in Japan. I didn't expect myself to mark out so hard, but when I walked into that store, it was very overwhelming of emotions. Just seeing the Andre the Giant jacket, walking up there, seeing all of the autographs, seeing all the memorabilia, the t-shirts, the figures, and everything. It was just really something else to take in. I did get some special autographs that's on the boards that they have. So I picked up myself a Jushin Thunder Liger autograph, a Giant Baba I got a Stan Hansen and then a Dr. Death Steve Williams, too.
Which, by the way, I have to say, the other week when I was talking about Giant Baba, it hit me that I was listening to it back and I said Giant Bubba at first, and that's been eating at me for weeks.
That's funny. Yeah, no, I saw the autograph. I'm like, this has to be a replica or something. And they said that, no, it's legit his autograph. And I was just like, okay, I'll take it. Done. You know? I mean, it's such a rarity to have that autograph. So, yeah. Very special. And then I marked out for going to Ribera Steakhouse. I only got to see the outside of it, so next time I'll have to go inside. But that was very, very cool. And then I saw a cool poster walking through the streets of Kyoto. I believe it may have been Tiger Mask. But
no.
Who was it?
It was Tiger's Mask or something?
Yeah. You recognized it.
No, I didn't recognize it. I looked it up. It was a Kyoto wrestling event.
Yeah, Brandon looked it up for me because I had no clue. I took a picture with it though. Yeah, but just the entire experience was great. They didn't have any Matt Cardona figures that were available, but I did look, or autographs.
All sold out.
Or else I would have gotten that. That would have been cool to have on one of those boards.
But I don't know why you would have assumed that would be there.
Well, I mean, didn't they do a tour of that store on Major Figs?
They're not doing like autograph signings there.
Yeah, but you never know. If they go into the store, why wouldn't they say, "Hey, would you mind signing this?"
I don't know. I don't know if that's how it works. Who knows?
Not me. But yeah,
did they have a Colt Cabana one?
I don't think so. The thing is that they had a lot of tabs, but the tabs were in Japanese for most of them, so I didn't know who was who. So there was probably a lot of people I missed.
But it said like Dr. Death and Giant Baba?
Yes. Yeah, I believe they were in English.
Well,
and then they had
here's to hoping I get there one day.
Yeah, it's incredible. Definitely go visit. Tell them David sent you.
So, yeah, I'm sure they'll be like, oh, yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
But that is the mark out moments of the week. That is episode 748. There was audio issues all throughout this episode, so that's why Dave is not part of the Raw and NXT talk. He's never part of SmackDown, but thanks for bearing with us if you're still listening. You can check us out on Twitter at Markin Out, at BTTG161 on all platforms. David, PTDPT, Chris Sweendog, CM Sweeney85, Facebook.com/Markin Out, YouTube and Instagram, Markin Out 11, ProWrestlingTees.com/Markin Out, at Markin Out on TikTok. You could go see some clips of Japan from Dave on our TikTok there. I'm really excited to post the one for the episode this week. Also,
just wait till you see the video of me inside of the store. I think my friends got me on video in near tears within the store.
You probably. I don't know how I'd react. I would want a Mil Mascaras mask that they have, but it's actually ring worn gear, so I don't have that kind of money to just go out there and buy a Mil Mascaras.
Yeah, they were so expensive.
Yeah, so that's like the only downside, I guess.
Yeah, I was legit nearly in tears because I was so overcome by emotions. But I feel like I have to stop myself from going on their website from buying everything.
You almost didn't go.
Almost didn't go, but thank you, Brandon, for being my guide, my pro wrestling guide.
I wish I could have punched you through your phone to make you go meet Minoru Suzuki.
I know. By the time it was so hard to plan out everything over there.
Not
even
for
though
me,
you were
it wasn't.
trying so hard.
I had everything step by step. There
I
was
know,
Toru Yano's bar as well.
Because everybody was hungry after that, and it was tough. It was tough. But
that sounds like an excuse, but you could listen to us, rate, review, subscribe, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube, markinout.com, and we wish you the best
of luck.
Best of
in your
luck in your
future
future
endeavors.
endeavors.